Have you ever wondered what a man thinks about when he reaches the end of his life? Not the things he earned, or the trophies he collected, but the quiet moments that echo in his heart when everything else fades. At 85 years old, the elderly man had lived what many would call a successful life. He built a home, provided for his family, and never missed a single day of work. He was respected, admired, and even envied by some. But as he sat by the hospital window in his final days, he said something that no one expected. He looked down at his weathered hands, sighed deeply, and said, "I was there for every bill, every problem, every responsibility, but not for the moments that truly mattered." And then, with tears in his eyes, he added, "I was a father in duty, but not always in presence." This is not just the elderly man's story. This is the silent truth many fathers carry in their hearts, often too late. When children are grown, when the house is quiet, and when the photos on the walls begin to speak louder than the voices in the rooms. This message is not meant to bring regret, but to awaken something powerful. Because there is still time. There is still a chance. If you are a father, a grandfather, or someone who loves one, stay with me till the end. What you will hear today might help you see your life, your role, and your relationships in a way you never have before. It may be the most important reminder you hear this year. Aging is not a disease. It is a story. A long, winding story filled with triumphs, mistakes, love, silence, and memories both cherished and forgotten. As we grow older, our minds often wander back through the chapters we have lived, the choices we made, the words we said, and the ones we held back. And sometimes, there is a moment, late in life, when one single truth rises above all others. A truth that refuses to remain silent any longer. This video is about that truth. I have spent years listening to elderly voices in hospitals, in quiet living rooms, on shaded porches, men and women who no longer worry about appearances or judgments. When people reach their 70s, 80s, and beyond, something changes. The masks fall off. What is left is raw, unfiltered wisdom. One of the most powerful things I have learned from these elders is that regret rarely comes from what we failed to earn. It comes from what we failed to give, especially to those we love the most. Fathers, in particular, carry a silent burden. Society teaches them to be strong, to provide, to protect. And many do, faithfully. But in trying to be the rock, some forget that their presence, their emotional presence, is often what their children remember most. You see, science backs this too. Studies in developmental psychology have shown that a child's sense of safety, self-worth, and emotional intelligence grows not just from food on the table or a roof overhead, but from consistent warmth, gentle guidance, and simple moments shared. Many fathers do their best, but somewhere along the way they miss the hidden truth that love is not only something we feel, it is something we show, with time, with listening, with being there. This message is not about blame, it is about awareness, because it is never too late to understand, and it is certainly never too late to change. So today, through real-life inspired stories and timeless lessons, I will share with you what one 85-year-old elderly man wished he had done differently, and what he hopes others will do before time slips quietly away. Let us begin. One elderly man was a disciplined man, former Army officer, always sharp, always on time. He loved his children deeply, but he expressed that love through structure by ensuring they had everything they needed. A good education, clean clothes, safety, but rarely a bedtime story, rarely a long hug, rarely a simple, "Tell me about your day." Now at 82, sitting quietly in his armchair, the elderly man watches his grown children rush through life, too busy to sit with him. One afternoon, he whispered to me, "I taught them how to be responsible, but I forgot to teach them how to slow down and feel." According to child development research, children need more than provision, they need emotional availability. The simple act of sitting together, listening without distraction, can build bonds stronger than any gift. The takeaway: a father's presence in small moments, a walk, a shared meal, a quiet conversation can become a memory that holds a child's heart for a lifetime. Another elderly man worked 2 jobs for 30 years. He was proud of never missing a payment, never needing help. But as his 85th birthday approached, he sat quietly at the edge of the party, watching his children and grandchildren laugh from a distance. When asked what he was thinking, he said, "I spent so many years sacrificing for them. I forgot to grow with them." Sacrifice is noble, but if it replaces connection, it creates a silent distance. Emotional closeness does not happen automatically. It requires shared experiences, honest conversations, and being emotionally present even during exhaustion. Research on lifelong parent-child relationships shows that emotional connection in early years predicts stronger bonds in later life. A child may admire a hardworking parent, but they remember the ones who sat with them in silence, held their hand through fear, and laughed with them in simple joy. The takeaway: never allow sacrifice to become a wall between you and the people you love. They need you, not just what you do for them. Let me ask you something very gently. When was the last time you truly sat down without your phone, without the television, without rushing and simply asked your son or your daughter, how are you really doing? Not just as a parent, but as a fellow human being. If you are watching this and you have made it this far, then I know something about you. You care deeply. You care about your family, about your role as a father or a father figure, about the legacy you will leave behind. And that matters more than you might realize. The truth is, many fathers carry a quiet pain, a fear that they did not do enough emotionally, that maybe they were present physically, but distant in spirit. If that has ever crossed your mind, even once, then let me say something clearly. It is not too late. Not too late to make a phone call. Not too late to say, I am proud of you. Not too late to say, forgive me, or even tell me about your world. This is not about being perfect. No one is asking that of you. This is about being real, being brave enough to show love, even if your own father never taught you how. So, if you are still with me, and this message has touched even a small part of your heart, I would love to know. Please type still listening or still strong in the comments below. Let me know which lesson so far spoke to you the most. Your words might encourage another father, another son, or someone who needs this reminder today. Let us build a space where reflection becomes strength and honesty becomes healing. Because you are not alone in this. Another elderly man was 85 when I met him. He had a calm voice, eyes that had seen war and peace, and hands that trembled gently as he spoke. He had 3 children, all successful in their own ways, but none of them called very often. He told me they were busy living their lives, and he understood. He smiled when he said it, but his eyes told a different story. One morning I asked him if he had any regrets. He paused, looked out the window. The sunlight touched his face as he whispered, I never told them how proud I was. I never told them I loved them not the way they needed to hear it. He said he assumed they knew. He thought actions were enough. Providing for them, protecting them, giving them the best life he could. But the words, they stayed locked inside him for decades. Now, as he sat in the quiet of his final days, he carried the weight of every birthday missed, every hug avoided, every heartfelt conversation that never happened. Science tells us that emotional expression, especially in parent-child relationships, shapes the emotional health of future generations. A simple I love you, spoken regularly, can reduce anxiety, increase trust, and build emotional resilience in children, even well into adulthood. The elderly man had done so much right, but the silence between his love and his voice left a hollow space that time could not fill. So, if you are hearing this now, take this message as a gift from him and from countless others like him. Say it while you still can. Tell your son he makes you proud. Tell your daughter she is enough. Tell your family that your love is not just in what you do, but in what you feel, and in what you are willing to say aloud. Do not let the most important words wait until the very end. Because the one regret the elderly man had at 85 was not what he did. It was what he never said. Life moves faster than we realize. One moment, we are teaching a child how to walk, and before we know it, we are watching them teach their own children how to live. Time does not ask for permission. It does not wait for perfect circumstances or for the right moment to say what must be said. It moves quietly and constantly like water shaping stone day after day. What we have heard today is not just the story of one man. It is the silent truth, buried in the hearts of many fathers who gave everything they had, except the softest parts of themselves, not because they did not love, but because they did not know how to show it, or were too afraid to speak it. But love is not meant to be a secret. It is meant to be spoken, shared, lived out loud, even in trembling words and awkward moments. The beautiful truth is this: change is always possible. No matter how many years have passed, no matter how distant a relationship may feel, there is always a path back, even if it is built one word, one gesture, one phone call at a time. If you are a father watching this, or a son, or someone carrying unspoken emotions, know this: you are not too late. You are not alone. And you are more powerful than you realize. Sometimes healing does not require grand acts. It begins with a quiet presence, a few sincere words, a willingness to sit down, look into someone's eyes, and say, I am here. I see you. I love you. Our days are not infinite, but the love we leave behind can echo for generations. So let us not wait for the last chapter to say the words that matter most. Let us speak them now, while there is still light, while there is still time, and while the ones we love can still hear them. If this message touched something deep within you, if it reminded you of your father, your child, or even a part of yourself that has remained silent for too long, then I ask you gently to not let it end here. Please take a moment not just for me, but for yourself to like this video, so it may reach others who may be quietly needing this message tonight. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to hear more stories that come not from noise, but from stillness, not from trends, but from truth. Here we honor wisdom, not just information. We share voices that often go unheard, the voices of elders, of experience, of quiet strength. Leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. Tell me about someone you love. Or simply write, "I will not wait," as a promise to yourself to speak what matters, while it still matters. And finally, if there is someone in your life who might need to hear this, a father, a son, a friend, please share this video with them. You may never know the weight your simple action could lift from someone's heart. Sometimes all it takes is one small message to open an old door. Thank you for spending this time with me. Let us continue to walk this path together with honesty, with compassion, and with courage. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and stay present.